All right, welcome back to the podcast, everybody. Today we have special guest Sam Tutić, or known as her stage name, Samsaruh. Sam is an Australian musician with Croatian roots who has hit singles, an album, and a brand new song written in Croatian. In this episode, we're going to meet the musician behind the music and hear about her inspiration for her new song, Neka Bude Mir. Sam, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for coming on. And so your new song, Neka Bude Mir, you've written in Croatian and you are releasing, I believe, this on Friday in a few days here.
Yeah, so it's actually tomorrow, my time. So tomorrow, your time.
Once again, the time zone is
yeah. There it is.
And so obviously that pays tribute to your Croatian heritage. Can you speak a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so both of my parents are Croatian. My dad's side comes from Bosanska Gradiška, and my mum's side comes from a little island off of Šibenik called Krapan. So yeah, we've got really tight Croatian roots. However, I was born and raised in Melbourne, but I've always been connected with my Croatian roots.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what year your parents went over to Australia?
They were born in Australia as well, but their parents, I think, came in the 70s, but don't quote me on it.
I won't.
It was a long time ago for me.
Yeah, I'm sure. But it's here as video evidence, just in case. So obviously, you were around the Croatian culture a little bit growing up. I mean, you wrote the song in Croatian. Are you able to speak fluently? How was that writing process for you?
So, I mean, I've always been surrounded by the Croatian community. It's kind of inevitable. I've got a big Croatian family here in Australia, as well as a lot of family overseas. It's one of those scenarios where every second person you walk past is your cousin. It's kind of been inevitable to really just be connected with the community and those roots. When I was 6, I guess I kind of introduced myself into it. I did folkloric dancing at a little Croatian church in Clifton Hill called St. Nikola Tavlić with Mladi Hrvati. So that was a nice little intro for me. And I've kind of always grown up dancing and being on stages anyway, since the age of 4. The song, the way it just kind of came out was very natural. It just kind of flowed to me. It came out in my, prominent language, which is English first. But when it came, through, it was like an intuitive splurge that just fell onto the page of these words. And I just knew that this would be a song for Croatia. It would be an ode to my heritage. And it's about that. I went to Croatia for the first time when I was 12. And that really just opened my eyes a lot. And it made me connect with my heritage on a whole other level. And it's always been a dream of mine to play in Croatia. So looks like my music is calling me there now.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So you said your first time was when you were 12. Have you been back since?
Yes. I went 3 years ago in 2019, however long ago that is now. And it's always been for like months at a time, which I've been very lucky and fortunate to be able to do that. It's always just so nice to go back, and I'll be going back next year as well and bringing my music there as well.
Awesome. Yeah. And I want to talk about that in a little bit, but first, can you talk a little bit about how, you got started musically? What was your first instrument? What was the first song you wrote? When did you really start?
Okay. So, I mean, I kind of feel like I came into this life with loving music, the passion for music and wanting to be involved in music in every single way. So I don't really remember a time where I wasn't into music. I also have my dad, who's always been in bands growing up, and he was very involved in the Croatian community too growing up. He used to play piano accordion for the folklore. He played Sydney Opera House and did all of that. So I think that he's the person who, and my mum loves music. She always has as well. So they've been very supportive in that kind of aspect. And so to me, music has just always been around me and I've always been immersed in it. The first instrument I played was obviously the vocals. Then I learned guitar, acoustic guitar. But I also know how to play Native American flute now too.
Wow. How did you learn that?
Yeah. It's just something I picked up. One day I was like, okay, I just had this calling. I need to buy a flute. I need a flute. I need a Native American flute. I need to know how to play it. And so I got it. And it's actually really funny because just the other day I had this conversation with my dear and I was telling him how I'm learning this flute, and his dad, turns out he used to play the flute as well, the native flute. It was this massive flute and he used to play it on the streets and children would just come and watch him and be in awe, and it's just insane. But I didn't even know that.
So just a crazy coincidence, huh?
Yeah, well, he was also a poet. And he also used to sing in all the churches. So I guess that's one of my ancestors that I'm spiritually connected with in some way.
Yeah, that's got to be more than a coincidence. It's such a random thing that can happen like that. And how does that even?
It's unreal.
Can you like cover songs with that? I mean, I'm sure there's not a lot of music written with that instrument. I mean, are you playing other music? Are you creating your own music with that?
My original music has always come first for me. So that's, really just where I channel a lot of my time and energy into. I haven't tried playing any covers with the flute, but I mean, I'm sure if I wanted to, I could try. But I think that the Native American flute is more of an instrument that you honor in the sense where it's all about being connected with this flow, and whatever note comes out, wherever your hands go, it's this intuitive way of playing this instrument. And that's kind of because it's got healing benefits as well, and it's in that 432 hertz, of the same as Neka Bude Mir, which is coming out tomorrow. So it's all about that, just following this intuitive flow, and that's how music gets created. And
Well, you mentioned the 432 hertz, and I did want to ask about that because I heard something about that. I think there's a couple, right? It's not just 432, but there's a couple other frequencies.
Yes, there's a whole bunch, and I think it's called the solfeggio frequencies. But this 432 hertz it's called the beat of the earth. And pretty much in 1940, it became an international standard to change the music to 440 hertz, which actually goes against the beat of the earth, the beat of the universe, the beat of us as humans, our nature, everything. Whereas 432 hertz is in perfect alignment with the flow of nature, the flow of us, the flow of the universe. And so with that, it comes with healing properties. So it's known to relieve stress and tension from the body and the mind, releasing blocks in our energy, helping with anxiety. It helps release serotonin and endorphins, which help keep the heart rate and blood pressure stable. And it's also really great for spiritual development and connecting with higher consciousness. And there's so much more. And there's scientific studies out there that prove all of this as well. There's even, healers and theorists at the moment that are experimenting with 432 hertz in restoring the memory of people who have Alzheimer's and restoring basic bodily movements of those who've suffered from strokes. So there's all sorts of healing benefits from this frequency. It's incredible.
Yeah, to me that always seems like an underfunded or under-researched area of study. I
Yeah,
definitely
but you know
deserve some
what?
more.
The thing is that all it takes is for you to do your own research to feel it, really. I mean, when you listen to these frequencies, you can feel the difference in your body, in your heart, your soul, everything. You just know.
So you feel the effects of it when you listen to music or
Yeah.
even when you play music like that.
Yeah. And to me, honestly, music has always been a profound, powerful healing force in the world. I've always been a firm believer of that. No matter what frequency, music has always had the capability to heal and to evoke, emotions. But it's good to understand the science behind it as well, and to really, make sure that you're connecting with, the good frequencies that are just going to really help with that flow.
And is that something that's done like at the instrument level that you're changing the tuning, or is that something in like post production?
Yeah, that's something that's literally from the core of the song. It's like as soon as you're writing that song, you're writing it in 432, or at least that's how I work. I mean, I'm sure everyone's different.
Oh, very cool. I want to talk a little bit about your career now. And for you being so young, I want to know how did your career really take off the way it did? I mean, you've won awards over there in Australia. You've been touring apparently all over Australia, and now you're
Yeah,
gonna
it's
go to
been a
go abroad.
whirlwind. Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? It's been a wild journey. It's been absolutely amazing, and I'm very grateful for every single second of it. I'm a big believer in fate, honestly, and when one is in, alignment with their purpose in this lifetime, and whether you call it a God-given purpose or whether you call it a life mission, when we're in alignment with that unique part of ourselves, and we're coming from the heart, which is very important. It's always important to come from the heart. Everything just flows, and you always just kind of end up wherever you're meant to be somehow.
Mm.
So, I mean, I can't really tell you. It all just kind of happened. It literally did. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just living through it, living in the moment. Well, you had
Yeah.
some hit
So,
singles that I believe you started out with were the singles, and then you went on to an album that you self-produced. So what does that mean
yes.
exactly? You were playing all the instruments, you did all the production of it.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, I released my, singles before that. And that's, I was touring all of Australia, playing all of Australia's biggest festivals, playing the theatres, doing all of that fun stuff. And then over the last couple of years, I've released as well my own self-produced album, which is called Incalescent. And when I say self-produced, I mean like from the bottom to the end, from the start to the end. I created it all myself. So played it all, produced it like on, technology, how music is produced. Mixed and mastered it, did all of it
Wow.
myself, which has been such a nice experience just to really bring my visions to life.
Yeah, that's true. You have all the creative control over it, but at the same time, I'm sure that's so much work, and I mean that's such a long
It
process.
is. It's a lot of work. You have to be dedicated, and you have to be very passionate.
Yeah. Are you looking to do that again in the future, or is it going to be easier to, have someone help with all of that?
Well, this is what I've done with Neka Bude Mir as well, except I did have my brother come in and play some guitar in it, which was awesome. He's an incredible guitarist. So, and he'll be coming to Croatia with me next year as well to play shows, play wherever we end up. But yes, so I think that is definitely something I will stick to, because it gives me a lot of freedom to write whenever I want to write and let things intuitive flow as they do, because I find that sometimes when we're locked into a studio and other people get involved, I just find that sometimes that natural flow of freedom kind of can get suppressed a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, you just brought up the tour again in Croatia, and I think it's time we go over that. I mean, that's so exciting. When did you make that decision?
Again, when I made this song, it all just came to me, and I knew that I was going to be going to Croatia as soon as I possibly could be after the last 3 years. And then this song came to me, and it was just a knowing. It was just okay, I'm going to Croatia and I'm going to be singing this song. And you know, I'm a big believer of, as like I said before, wherever I'm meant to be, I will be. And wherever my music takes me is where I'm needed, is where my music will be of most benefit. So yeah, looks like that's Croatia. And honestly, it's the place I hold most dear and most close to my heart. So I'm very excited for it.
Do you know which month you're going in yet?
It will be in around June, July.
Oh, that's nice. So you'll have the summer.
Months. Yeah, for a few months. So it'll be a nice long run.
And have you booked any tour dates yet, or are you just gonna go with the flow once you get here?
That is all yet to be announced. That is all yet to be announced. So you'll have to stay tuned.
Great. Yeah, we won't leak that on here. That's awesome. And actually, you know, don't go anywhere, you know, to our viewers and listeners here. And if you're listening, actually, I guess I'll cut it to just an audio also, but go on the YouTube, because we're going to get an acoustic version of Neka Bude Mir, thanks to Sam. And, you know, Sam, I just want to thank you for coming on the podcast here and talking a little bit about yourself. I like the song you sent me. I guess I got the pre-release. Was that what I got?
Yes, you did.
Awesome. So one of the first, maybe 10, maybe 100 people, yeah. 10 people. Let's say I was the first person.
You were definitely up there.
I'll just say I was the first person to hear the song in its entirety. And now,
sure. It definitely wasn't my DJ or anything, you know.
No.
It was you.
Okay, top 10. I'll go top 10. And now we're gonna get a maybe, which is the first acoustic version.
Yes, of the song. It is. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Sam, for coming on the podcast, and we'll get the acoustic version going right now.
No worries. Hvala puno. See you next time. Neka bude ljubav, neka bude svjetlost u svetoj noći. Neka bude ljubav, neka bude svjetlost, neka živi, neka umre. Priče koje su znali, priče koje smo
zaboravili šumski požar, živi u našoj krvi. Pojac tu ramena istina će se uvijek govoriti. Otvori svoje lipe oči, neka pogovori, neka bude mir, neka bude ljubav, neka bude žalost u svetoj noći. Neka živi, neka